welcome back to the Brutally Honest podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Sprins, and today we got a solo episode because my life has changed a lot, and I need to update you guys. Basically, I just got back from India. I did a program there where I was there for 2 weeks. I couldn't talk the whole time, and I couldn't have my phone the whole time, and the whole goal of the program was just to be present with yourself and work on your inner world going on and heal and release childhood trauma, blah, 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 blah. And I want to talk about it on here, but when I start to talk about it, I get worried that I'm coming across as one of those spiritual ego people on social media who are just pushing buy my program down your throat, or this is my way of living and it's the best way of living and you guys have to follow it, and if you don't, you're a bad person. I don't want to come across like that. I just did something and now I'm back from it and I feel so much better. I didn't realize how bad of a place I was until I just took some time for myself, until I took some time just to be in the present moment, away from my phone. And I'm back in the US, thinking, I cannot believe the amount of life I've missed out on, or the amount of beautiful things I wasn't letting myself see in this world because I was just in such a bad place, and now I'm more cleared up. But with this program I did, it's not any religion or moral beliefs, or it doesn't have any moral high ground to it. It's literally just they show you how to not be in a suffering state. With stuff like that, where there's teachings for how to be in a better place or how to be a good person, it's linked to religion, or it's linked to belief systems for who you have to be as a person. But with this, it's you can be under any religion, you can have any beliefs. We just want to show you how to go about life in a way where your head isn't messing with you 24/7, or where you're constantly having all these anxious thoughts, or having depression, anxiety, and not knowing how to get rid of it. They show you how to get rid of that stuff, how to just be present, because a lot of times we don't realize how unpresent we are. I wasn't realizing that I was constantly thinking about what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and I was thinking about this person, how they hurt me 2 years ago, and just creating a war in my head. And in a way, that war was enjoyable, so I could just be sitting outside in this little mind war, and I'm getting anxiety, but I keep having this addiction to being in it. And instead of enjoying nature and the world and being present and being oh wow, a bird just flew by, that's so pretty, I'm in this anxious Brianna world. And all this work did was just get me out of that. But basically, it's called ACOM. It's this program in India with a bunch of monks. And every day we go to these classes and we have a very structured life. So I had to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and I had an hour to get ready. And then at 5:30, I had to go outside to this little area. We would do 45 minutes of meditating, and then we would do yoga, and then this nature thing where you just sit in nature and you watch the sunrise for 30 minutes, and then you get an hour break where you eat your breakfast, and then after that you go to a 4-hour class, and then you get another break, and then you get another 4 hours of class, and then you end the day with celebrating. And I really did not want to do this program at all when I first made the decision to go. It's funny, I made the decision to go, but right when I got the tickets and everything, I was just resenting it so much. I was running from it. I did not want to go. And it was the idea of not having my phone that terrified me. And I was literally on the phone with the people who help out with the program, telling them that I need at least 30 more minutes on my phone, because I negotiated getting 15 minutes every morning on my phone. And they saw how anxious I was with the idea of not being on my phone. So they said no phone time at all. And then that like freaked me out, where I was like, I don't know if I can do this program. Like, no phone. Like, what if a zombie apocalypse happens? Like, what am I going to miss out on? I'm going to leave my life behind, because I was really enjoying my life. I had like a simple little life. I would like go out on the weekends a lot with my friends. I had a super social life. I was just constantly like doing this with my friends, doing that with my friends, going to lunch, going to the mall, just keeping super busy. And going to India to me meant leaving every single thing behind and just like sitting with myself, which I didn't realize subconsciously terrified me. And that's why I was so resistant towards it. I thought I was like, oh, I just like my life now. I don't want to like leave it behind. But there's so much depth to it. Like, leaving my life behind, sitting with myself means I have to face my stuff. I have to work through things. And I have to also face my addiction to my phone, which controls my entire life. But basically, the first 2 days we get there, I have some time to like settle in and like recover from jet lag. And then on the third day, I'm in India, the program starts. And I give my phone to Margaret. She is an amazing woman who has helped guide me through my journey, and it's just been so supportive. For some reason, she just decided to like sought me out, and she's just been there for me since day one. Like, even when I was super apprehensive towards going to the program, she would call me like once a week and check in to see how I'm doing. So we made the decision where I was going to personally give her my phone, because I actually found out that you have the choice to go on your phone or to not go on your phone. But because I was so anxious about the trip, my mind told me that they're going to take your phone. So I created this whole situation where they did end up just taking my phone, where everyone else got to like keep their phone like in a safe, like they just put it away. Since I was like freaking out saying like, you guys can't take my phone, like, can I just get extra time? And they just saw how much anxiety, like I like highlighted myself, like they saw how much anxiety I was in. So they're like, okay, we're taking her phone. So Margaret took my phone. I played all out. And the first 2 days, I was an anxious wreck. Basically, I'm in a third world country and I have no phone, and we're not supposed to be talking. It's called Mona. And the first day we get transported. They do this thing where they transport us. Basically, I start off at a campus and they'll bring us, like they'll put us on a bus, and then you'll go to places like a village, or you'll go to the Temple Akam, or you'll go to this beautiful nature spot. And I remember sitting on that bus and I got this surge of anxiety. All these thoughts were rushing to me, and I realized how much I rely on my phone for survival. Like, I was getting anxious thoughts telling me I would literally die because I didn't have my phone. I was thinking, oh, I might get kidnapped, or this might happen, or what if like I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere in India and I don't have anyone to call because I don't have my phone, or like what if like, just like so many thoughts. And I just had to like pause and be like, wow, I really rely on my phone for survival. But while I was sitting in the bus, Margaret sat next to me and she held my hand, and the bus started, and she said, anytime you get nervous, just look out the window and look at the butterflies, because there's all of these butterflies in India. In fact, it is beautiful where we're staying, just so much nature. I haven't seen nature like that in a while because I live in Arizona, the desert, but everywhere you look, it's just green. So I was anxious at first in the beginning of the bus ride, but then I started to look out the window and take in the nature, which is something I have not done before. I'm usually just scrolling through my phone. And while I was doing that, I realized that like, this is so beautiful and amazing. Like, why haven't I been letting myself be present to like the simple things in the world, like just enjoying nature? I feel like it has been my attention span, because my phone has shortened my attention span, where to sit there and just take in nature was something I'd rather not do. If I had my phone, I could just scroll through Instagram. But because I didn't have it, I had no choice but to appreciate the world more and take in my surroundings and just be. And something else that came up without my phone was how fidgety of a person I am and restless of a person. Because when I didn't have my phone, anytime I would get fidgety or restless, I had to just sit with that restlessness. And I realized that usually when I get fidgety or restless, I just grab my phone and I start scrolling and I doom scroll. But this time I'm like, oh, no phone to grab. I'm fidgety. I'm restless. I want to like play with my hair. I want to do this. Like I can't like sit still. And I'm like, this is how I've always been. Like I'm looking at my body and like how I literally have like such a hard time staying still. I'm like, I can't believe how fidgety of a person I've been. And I never realized it until my phone was taken away from me. Like there's so many beautiful, amazing realizations I had without my phone. Like I did end up reading a book throughout the experience, which is something they don't recommend you do because it can kind of take you out of the experience, especially if it's like a fantasy book. Like I had like a fantasy book on like dragons and like a kingdom and stuff. It was really entertaining. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I had the book. Maybe it did like affect my focus a little bit because their goal is to be like 100% focused. But I had a book, and usually with books, it needs to be the most entertaining book from the first page. Like if it's boring in the beginning, then I'm like, I can't read this book, and I put it aside. This book was slower paced from the first page, and I was reading every single word like it was the most entertaining thing in the world. We would go on long bus rides to be transported to different places during our days in this program. And usually during the bus ride, I would read this book. And I just remember like opening the first 2 pages, like reading every single word, like so fascinated by it, having so much focus that I used to not have. And I just like was so in the story. But that's just like one little segment of my journey. There's so much more depth I can get into with it. Like just not having my phone was a whole experience in itself. But another thing I had to experience was not talking. And oh my gosh, that one was hard for me. It's hard for a lot of people. See, you hear about what you have to do in this program, how you don't have to talk and how you don't have to be on your phone. And at first it like sounds easy. I was like, yeah, I can do that. I cannot talk. I cannot be on my phone. But then you're like in it and you're like, oh, this isn't as easy. Because at first I was really excited to not talk. I'm like, honestly, I'm kind of like over it. Like, I just want to be silent, which did make it very nice in the beginning. But then there was moments where I would see someone I knew and I would want to say hi, or something crazy would happen to me and I would want to like rush to tell my friend like what happened. But instead I had to just kind of just be with myself. It's just more of like a inner self journey where you're not externalizing everything, expressing every little thought you have. And I didn't realize how much I validate and rely on talking to feel like a normal human being or a valuable human being in this world. Like if something embarrassing happens to me, I have to vocalize and express it to a friend to feel better about that embarrassing moment. Like sometimes we talk more so for our own needs being met than for a valuable and meaningful conversation. Sometimes like I was realizing how I say things to my friends from a place of, can you just fuel my insecurities? Can you make me feel better about my insecurities? Like if someone annoyed me and I just wanted to rant about them, and me ranting about that person, my friend, is my way of just like take on the anger I have. And something about no talking for 2 weeks, they said that would happen is when you do talk again, you are talking from a place that is more impactful and meaningful, and you're saying what actually matters instead of just chatting just to chat, which is something I did a lot of before this program. I just loved chatting for no reason at all. Like, wait, let me get some water real quick. As I'm chatting so much, my throat is getting dry. I'm like, it's been so long since I just like sat down and talked for a while, because I have been silent for 2 weeks. It's a week of me being back now. It's really weird adjusting to like the real world and everyone just talks so fast. I'm realizing too. Like I didn't realize how fast paced of a talker I was. It's just, this whole program has been amazing. It just slows you down and puts you more into a perspective and takes you out of the real world and shows you what's been going on this whole time, like what's been going on in the real world and what you've been doing in and like in society, and like not realizing like how much we talk when we don't really need to talk, and how fast paced we are. That was another thing with the program, is they're so slow paced with everything. Like it's all about being in the present moment. So like when I'm walking, I'm just walking, like presently, like taking awareness of every single step I have, not rushing from point A to point B. And I am a very rushy person, so this was so hard for me. I just love to be like, da-da-da-da-da. I love talking fast. I love rushing everywhere I go, but I decided to slow down. Because everyone else was, so I was like, you know what, let's just try it out. And I realized a lot of times I'm rushing, I don't need to actually rush. I'm just rushing because there's anxiety in me. So slowing down was really scary and hard, because I would have anxious moments where I was almost going to miss the bus, and I just like had this urge just to rush. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to miss the bus. I might. I don't know. Something in my head's telling me I will. But I'm just going to slow down and go at my own pace. Because when I rush, it builds up my anxiety. It makes me more all over the place and hard to be around. And lo and behold, I got to the bus in time, and I didn't end up being late, because I realized my mind clock is like 2 hours ahead. Like 2 minutes ahead. So if someone says you have to be there in 4 minutes, my mind clock is telling me, okay, I only have 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes behind, if that makes sense. It's just all these like little things you start to realize about yourself from incorporating the most simple of habits, like not talking, not being on your phone, not rushing. And it can just make such a big change. And that's why I say this program isn't on a specific belief you need to have, or it's not under any religion. You can be any religion and do the program. There's a lot of atheists who do the program. That's their whole thing. Like, they're not going to push religion on you or anything. Like, they say divine, but they also say, like, whatever you believe in, if it's Jesus, if it's just God, if it's, like, Mother Nature, like, you imagine your source, your divine, and use that to help give you more of an energy fill up. Because that was another thing I was, like, working through, is, like, my relationship with the divine and, like, what that is to me, because this work used to, like, freak me out. Anything that's, like, spiritual or religious just freaked me out, because I am more so of a person who's analytical and scientific, and it's, like, what is proven is real. So I sometimes still get scared, like, openly talking about it, because I don't want about this work I do, because I don't want people to think I'm, like, this crazy, like, spiritual person, like, believe in God and don't believe in God and have this connection and that connection. But they really put it into a good perspective, where it's like you can have whatever beliefs or whatever God you have, but it is kind of nice building a relationship with that to help you get through, like, tough times. So something they mentioned is a lot of atheists have done the program. So even if they don't believe in God, they can use something like Mother Nature to connect to, or just energy, which is proven by science. Like, there's energy all around us. There's energetic fields and stuff. You can just keep it super simple. And that's what I found better for me, was just simpling it down. Also, so it doesn't freak me out, like, getting into, like, a spiritual program, like being in India for 2 weeks to meditate. And, like, that just sounds so intense. So that's why I like to go the simple way with it, where I'm not going to, like, have an aesthetic of spirituality. I'm not going to be crazy, like, hippie girl with all these crystals and yada, yada, yada. I'm just a girl who has a lot going on, and I don't want to live life being in a suffering state anymore. I don't want to live life being miserable. I don't want to live life being depressed. So I am seeking to find a way to get out of it and just be present in life. And how do I just be happy, and actual happiness, like actual happy, where I'm not like, I'm so happy. Like, a lot of people do that, especially a lot of people, like, who are, like, heavily into spirituality, preaching it online, being like, find this, buy this program, do this, that. Like, they're all, like, acting like there's something they're not. They're always like, I'm so happy and connected, but they're, like, the ones feeling the urge to tell people that their beliefs are wrong, and their beliefs are wrong because they are not following the beliefs that they are preaching about. Like, I feel like our idea of happiness has been miscrewed over time, and as, like, religion has pushed stuff onto us, or, like, these people who are, like, life coaches on social media talk about their program and, like, the seminars they go to. it's just like all this like crazy like anxious energy and like competitiveness where they're trying to prove that the work they do is better. I think the word that's coming to my mind is spiritual bypassing. I feel like I see a lot of that nowadays on social media with the new age of spirituality and what's become, where people try to come across as someone super spiritual, but it's just like fake and unauthentic, and seeing that terrified me. So my goal of like sharing about my experiences with this program is to not be one of those people. Like, I'm always someone who is willing to try everything out until I find the best. So right now this has worked the best for me, but I want to always keep an open mind. But for me, I like the idea of just simpling it down, not having like a book that tells me like this is wrong or that is wrong or this is what you go by and this is what you don't go by. Like, I just can't do all that. I can't do that. Or like having a specific image of God, and if you behave this way then you're sinning. But everyone has different things that work for them, and I like at first I like thought I was like that. Like I grew up Christian and stuff, and we would go to church, but as time has gone by, I didn't really notice any change with following like Christianity. I felt like I still was like in a bad place. Like, they could say don't do this and like don't sin, and then like I wouldn't sin or whatever the teachings were. It's been a while, but I would still like not be fully happy. So I'm kind of like in a self-discovery era with like my spirituality, and I just want to do something that brings true happiness and not fake happiness. And as of now, this is working the best, but who knows? Maybe I'll find something else down the line. Maybe I'll go back to Christianity. It's just all about what I'm feeling out and what just is helping me heal myself at a faster rate, because I feel like everyone has stuff going on. Like, I talk about my inner world where I have all these thoughts of anxiety, and I can sit outside in nature and not even be in the nature because I'm thinking about this person and how they upsetted me 5 years ago, and I'm thinking about what I want for breakfast and lunch and dinner instead of just being there in the present moment, which I wouldn't have noticed that I was doing if it wasn't for these recent teachings that I have come across. And we'll see where I end up in the next 5 years. Maybe I'll find a whole other program that I'll share with you guys, and it's what I truly believe is the best and the right program. But right now, this is what is working for me, and I just wanted to openly share it without trying to push any agenda or anything on you guys, because everyone has their beliefs, and it's beautiful to just have anything to believe in, and it's all about what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Christianity didn't work the best for me, but it works really good for other people. I see other people thrive in it. So I just feel like we all have freedom to believe what we want to believe. But yeah, that was my episode. I feel like I did not make sense the whole time I'm talking. Like, I don't know if I'm like scattered. My brain has been scattered because I haven't been able to talk for a good 2 weeks. And now I'm talking again for a while. But thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like and subscribe. Bye, guys.